Okay. So yes, CenterPoint Energy is agreeing to do a pilot program for inclusive financing, which a lot of you have heard about, hopefully. And I wanted to give a status update. Right now, the city's meeting weekly with CenterPoint to file a petition on September 1st. That petition will be to the state of Minnesota, the Public Utilities Commission, and it'll be our proposal that we've worked up together to introduce a 3-year pilot program for residents. This includes multifamily as well as single family. It includes renters as well as owners. And we estimate about 1,500 participants over the 3-year term. We are working with Xcel as well. We courting them to join us in this effort so that we can capture both electricity, energy efficiency measures, and possibly rooftop solar, as well as gas measures. So continued pressure on Xcel would be welcome to help the city out. But in the meantime, we're moving forward productively with CenterPoint Energy. And in fact, they've agreed to count the electricity savings from gas measures, like from air sealing and insulation. That's not just heat savings, but if you have central air, that can be electricity savings too. Electricity savings from running the furnace less often. And that's all going to count. So that was a big win since we last talked to you about inclusive financing. The key dates to note are September 1st when we file that proposal, and we would invite comments to the state from your perspective about what works about the proposal and what could be better. That opportunity will come this fall, and we will stay in touch with Kyle and others about where you'd find information about the comment opportunity, and hope that you engage, even if you support it. We need people telling the state that they support it. If there are things wrong with it, you can work with us or tell the state what's wrong with it. That is all welcome input. This was a Minneapolis grassroots-led initiative, and the city is persuaded that inclusive financing is the best, fastest way forward to deploy energy efficiency quickly in our housing fleet. And this will mean a lot to customers, a lot of savings. So I guess I would invite any questions if there's time for that.
Do you want to say quickly what inclusive financing is for those who don't know?
Yes, and Lee shared with me what I should have shared earlier. This is a little visual about inclusive financing. Inclusive financing is a way for homeowners, renters, anyone who wants to make energy efficiency improvements but doesn't want to pay for that up front. So you want to pay for it over time, and the opportunity is to pay it back through the utility. So this isn't a loan that stays with the tenant or the homeowner. This is a utility service that's paid for on your utility bill, and it stays with the meter until the costs are fully recovered. The key thing is that in order to be eligible for this program, a person would have to save more money than they would spend. And that net savings would have to happen after year 1, so right away. If we got Xcel engaged in this, we could probably guarantee savings after the first month.
Wow.
So that's why it's important to work with Xcel. But that's a consumer protection that you have to save more than you pay and that savings has to accrue during the first year.
Can you say why Excel is not involved yet?
Excel has said to us that whatever they offer in Colorado, they will make available to us in Minnesota. We don't, we think that Minnesota should have as much standing as their customers in Colorado. They say that there just aren't the savings on the electricity side that are quite as obvious as gas savings, but our sense is that there's room for all cost-effective measures, and that's what CenterPoint is allowing on the gas side. So this has grown beyond just insulation and air sealing, but it can include smart thermostats, water heater wraps, anything that would save gas is eligible.
Okay. Why Colorado?
Yeah.
Why Colorado? Colorado's legislature is a little more progressive, I think, than Minnesota, where we have a divided legislature. And so there's more pressure on Excel to do more faster in Colorado. Yeah, the number of households we're hoping to engage over the 3 years is 1,500.
Just move the chat.
We're expanding this beyond Minneapolis too. There's interest from other cities. So this would be offered territory-wide for CenterPoint. Yes. Yes, and we can exceed the 1,500 if there's a demand for that.
Does anybody on Zoom have any questions? See any hands up?
There's some coming up on the right there. There's some questions there.
No questions. No.
Do you want to make me co-host?
Hmm?
Do you want to make me co-host?
I did.
Okay.
Hi, Sean.
All right.
Hey, Stacy.
Yes.
Do you know, is there going to be an in-person hearing or a virtual hearing at the PUC, or does everything have to be like written comments or video recorded?
We won't know until the Public Utilities posts the notice for comments about how people can comment. So that would require some advocacy with the PUC if you want anything other than written comment opportunities.
It's important that a lot of groups get involved, so it's not just like Energy Sense and Legal Aid.
The more the merrier, yep.
Wait, would you mind just passing that to Brad and saying, now Brad is next?
All right, Brad's up next.
Community facilitating.
Hello, everybody. And Steve is working his way over here. We're, you don't know, we're at picnic tables here in North Commons Park. And it's a very nice night out. And I'd like to thank you all. Here's Steve Sandberg, and I'm Brad Pass. And we're both here to talk about the East Phillips Indoor Urban Farm. Can you guys hear me? And yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Now, does anybody not know what the East Phillips Indoor Urban Farm project is? Now, don't be shy, because we can talk about, I can't see what's behind the chat thing. Can we get rid of that chat square so I can see who's hiding back there?
I have it put up so I can know the question.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, let's see. I think maybe I can move it. No, maybe not. There we go. Okay. So everybody knows all about the East Phillips Indoor Urban Farm project? Okay, well, I'm going to go home. What?
I don't.
Tell us more.
Oh, okay.
What's going on lately?
Okay.
What do we do down to the wire?
Okay, well, the East Phillips Indoor Urban Farm is the city of Minneapolis kind of interfered with this project back in 2015. And in 2014, the East Phillips was just starting another episode of trying to get rid or trying to move some of the polluters out of our neighborhood. We've got a foundry and we've got an asphalt plant, and we're surrounded by freeways and high traffic areas. We have the highest rate of asbestos, of asthma, especially asthma, hospitalizations, and we're one of the few areas that are rich in arsenic. Yeah, we've got we are located right by the arsenic triangle, which during the turn of the century, well, in the 30s actually, in order to kill off the grasshoppers and the grasshopper invasion out in the western states, they brought in train loads, literally train loads of powdered asbestos.
Arsenic.
Arsenic, sorry. I'm into arsenic too. Anyway, they dumped it, believe it or not, right on the ground. Somebody is saying something. No?
Keep going.
Anyway, they dumped it right on the ground, and we got just right next door to the former Sears warehouse, and of course the arsenic was blowing around by the wind, and it was absorbed into the water table underneath the thing, and that was in the 1930s. In 1947, Sears bought the 7.6 acre site right next to the arsenic triangle. At that time, nobody knew anything about remediation of anything, and they built the big Sears, giant Sears warehouse. Now, how this got involved with East Phillips, it's right in East Phillips, right across the street from where the Sears warehouse used to be, and then when the Sears sold it, they sold it to the Roof Depot. The Roof Depot were nice tenants. They're okay neighbors. All they had was a few trucks moving in, and some cars of people who were buying roofing materials. Now, we were terrified in 1914 when we determined that this site was coming up for sale. And 2014, what did I say?
1914.
Could have been 18.
How old are you, Brad?
Yeah, it could have been.
This is how long he's been fighting the city.
So anyway, 2014, we knew that we had to do something. This is a 7.6 acre site. It's
230,000 square foot building
yeah,
built of steel and brick.
Yeah,
And,
Really good building.
and the building, well, before the Roof Depot sold it, they renovated the building. They put all new windows in, double pane, and in the office space, and triple pane windows. They insulated the building. They put a new roof on it, and they updated the heating system. So the building is in excellent shape. At least it was until the city got a hold of it by the threat of eminent domain, and they bought it out from under us. We were negotiating at a reasonable price, $5 million, and when the city got into the picture and said, "Now you got to sell it to us," well, they soaked the city for an extra 2.8 million, and which is fine, I guess. That's our money, our taxpayer money. But anyway, now we've been fighting this battle, even though we don't own the property. We've been fighting this battle since 1814. Anyway, we've been fighting this battle, and we don't intend to lose. The city bought it. Why? To move their water maintenance yard. I said maintenance. Now that doesn't mean, people ask us, okay, what do you want? Do you want clean air or do you want clean water? We don't believe that people in East Phillips have to choose. We deserve and demand both. And they're not going to do one bit of water actual water cleaning or anything like that. All they're doing is fixing the water pipes that go underground, fixing the sewer pipes, and fixing the manhole covers and fire hydrants, storing sand salt mix for the winter in our neighborhood. And in order to do this, they have to move in 400 additional commercial vehicles. Many of them are, you know, with the, I talked about the arsenic, and that's what the connection to arsenic is. Many of them are, okay, I got 5 more minutes.
One of the questions is about, they were trying to have the city do a fleet study, like to see how many trucks they actually need. And have they done that? I know SEAC has been asking the city to do a overall fleet study for their city vehicles and public works.
You know, SEAC is a wonderful organization. You know, SEAC stands for the Community Environmental Advisory Commission.
Yeah.
And they have come out totally in favor of the city moving their water yard someplace else and putting in and allowing and more or less advising the city to sell this site back to the community. The community has the ability to pay for this. We have the will to pay for it, and we're not going to take no for an answer. Now,
I want to make sure we tell them about August 1st.
I want you to take the rest of it. I've gone off in the weeds here, so it's all Steve's got it.
Yeah, and Joe Vital is also on the call. I want to make sure you guys know about August 1st. We're having a rally at the site at 28th and Longfellow, and we want everyone there to show the city. The city has not been part of has not lived up to the community engagement part of the staff directive that's coming back. The staff is coming back on August 5th. We don't know what they're going to say. We don't know. We understand we will not be allowed to present on August 5th. But they have refused to allow us to tour the building or bring people inside of the building, for example, and just are really not, you know, the staff directive is based on green zone policy. It's based on the city's racial crisis that was declared by the city council. This is all in the preamble of this directive. It says, mentions the reconciliation, the agreement that the council passed, but city staff has not engaged us, let alone anyone else in the community. So, but we're working on an economic plan for our plan, and I don't know if Joe is available to talk. We had a meeting yesterday at Little Earth and brought in partners that are, you know, there's a lot of people that were displaced on Lake Street that want space in, you know, this amazing 230,000 square foot building at this time is available, and the city's just letting it sit. Their plan is to tear it down, and they may decide to do that on August 5th. We had a 3-month stay. What they're going to do about community engagement, we have no idea. So August 1st, we're going to have a big rally. We're going to present everything that we have for our ability to purchase the building if the city will sell it to us, and to turn it into a community-owned, community-based operation with hydroponics and commercial kitchen and bike shop and a lot of training for youth and.
They have a plan to tear it down on the 5th of August?
Well, that's the next vote that they're going to take. We don't know what's going to happen on August 5th, but that could easily be their. I mean, that's part of their decision that was paused. That the question was, are they going to tear it down on August 5th? And we don't.
So
know.
can you tell us the yes votes and the no votes? Go ahead.
Well, I just want to make sure that we have time for all the things on our agenda. Can they get all this information on your website and Facebook page? And I'll make sure to share it on the Green Team's Facebook page too and send it out in the minutes.
We have a flyer here, and there's a QR code. I know you guys on screen, I can shred this and send it to the wires someplace to get to you, but there's a QR code here that tells you everything we need. I'm going to send the an electronic version of this to Kellie, and you can maybe send it out to people. But there is a lot of information in this QR code thing, much more than there is on this. But the frustrating thing about this for us is that we would be now, if we were been allowed to buy this in 2015 when we were negotiating the purchase price, we would now be on our 4th year of production with jobs, good paying jobs for the people in our neighborhood. And this project, our project, every year is contributing a lot of money and a lot of assets to our community, stuff that the, and the water works is telling us, well, you're costing us by all this delay, $500,000. How much is it? They're saying they're saying $500,000 a month or something like that. Just ridiculous.
But green teams have supported us all these years, and the beautiful thing about this organization is it represents the city, and East Phillips really needs everyone's help once again to convince the city that we're not a sacrifice zone in East Phillips for projects that the rest of the city benefits from, but doesn't want. And that's really what's happening to us. There's a sample script. We got 1,000 folks to send in comments to the city's flawed EAW, which got us to this point. And so here's our sample script. Go to epneyfarm.org, and we need another 1,000 comments to our city council to influence them.
And
But
CJ was able to get here. I'm gonna.
yeah, thank you very,
grab
very
that.
much.
We also need money.
Can I add a quick thing, Kyle?
Yes, I'm gonna mosey over and introduce. Awesome. Yay.
I just wanted to add a minute from our thing that the pressing thing right now is to get.
Sorry, I thought it was.
The pressing thing right now is to get our council members from the north side to support this. Because if the council passes it, we have 5 people from the south side, but if we get north side council folks to work on this before the 5th, then we have a chance, right? Because the senators and the House of Representatives have enough votes to get the money that we need to develop it. And if we can get this done here, we can get it done on the north side too. I'm a north sider, so I was a accidental tourist for 6 months working on Roof Depot, because what Roof Depot was facing is what we were facing in North Minneapolis. And so out of that was born the first time when the north side green zone and the south side green zone came together and had a joint meeting. Yeah. And we started to realize that we're facing some of the same issues. So if we can all work with our council folks on this end to give this a serious consideration, it's going to mean a lot for us from the green standpoint. I'm Erica with Solar Scenes, the Dig Lab, and Family Trees.
Erica, I'd like to tell them what our ask is that everybody send an email to every council member and the mayor and everybody else on this list. And the most effective that we've ever been is when we had 1,000 emails go into an EAW request. Yeah. We put in 1,000 emails, and that slowed them down for 2 weeks because they actually had to read them all.
Right.
And there was only one out of over 1,000 that was not in support of our project. So we need to triple that, to quadruple that, to 4,000. We have to inundate them and shut down their box.
So if you all heard that, what Brad was saying is that as many emails as we can get going to these council members are really important. We want to see the urban canopy of North Minneapolis increase. We want to see the water quality of South Minneapolis, and we want to lower the incidence of asthma, heart issues, and cancer in our children. And so the more trees we can get in the community, the more that we can do to get this urban collective. It'll be the first thing of its kind with aquaponics and community, like cooperative economics happening around all things green. So it's a great gift, and a lot of work has gone into it. If we can make it happen, and that even that there's a promise to purchase this a letter of intent to purchase that building for $8 million, which is more than it was being sold for to begin with. It's really good for everybody. And the reason I sent that around is that it demonstrates that the organizations, what you have there, Kyle, that's all the different organizations that are participating in this. And they represent the wide BIPOC community that exists in East Phillips.
And
we really do have to move. I hate to.
No, please, no, I'm done.
Okay, I'm muting over here.
All right, so I'm back on, but Sean, we're gonna move back to actually Kellie Muellman. I forgot to let you do your city update. So we'll give you a couple minutes to do your city update on green zones, resilience hubs, and maybe the social cost of carbon. And I hope everybody's having an okay time hearing.
I don't have,
But I am.
yes, pretty good here.
Are we making any sense to you online?
Great. Yes, I can hear you all.
Okay, good.
It's helpful that you've all logged in different locations.
Okay.
So hi everyone, sorry I can't be there in person. I'm Kellie Muellman. I am Stacy's coworker in the sustainability office. I'm gonna try and keep my comments brief. So I am the staff person for the city's Green Zone Initiative. If you're not familiar with Green Zones, it's the city's environmental justice effort. We work with community members in North Minneapolis and the Phillips neighborhood and Cedar Riverside to address air pollution, green jobs, housing, food access, and more. So the couple updates I have on the green zones is one, we are looking for applicants for the Southside Green Zone Council. So if you or anyone that you know lives in any of the 4 Phillips neighborhoods or Cedar Riverside, we are interested in you joining the group. So those applications are being accepted at least through the end of the month, and then depending on how many we get, we may extend it longer. I can drop the link in the chat as soon as I'm done for where to find those applications. The other is, and I appreciate Erica, hi, good to see you, mentioning the joint green zone meetings, because they have been really exciting. We just started having these in December of last year, partly enabled by our meetings being virtual for the past year. So we're able to bring all the members of the North Side and the South Side together because we realized that there was a lot of overlapping issues and concerns. And so, sort of greater power in numbers. One of the big areas of focus that the Green Zone has been working on is air pollution. And so in the last couple joint meetings, we've had folks from the city's health department, from the state health department, and from the state's pollution control agency come and talk about not only like what they've been doing around air pollution, but what additional things would they be willing to do to help the community mitigate air pollution in the Green Zone specifically. So one thing that's coming out of those conversations is the city health department is looking to work with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency on a community air monitoring project. And we're just at the idea phase, because one of the big goals for this project is that it's community driven. So this is basically at the phase of the city and the state are ready to commit to doing a project, and we want to recruit community members to participate. And participation could mean being part of the decision making on what type of pollution are we going to look at, where are we going to locate the monitors, what kind of observations are we looking for. It could mean having a monitor in your home or someplace in the community where you would be seeing where maybe when spikes happen and observing, like, did you smell something when there was a spike, or did you notice like a truck drove by, or your neighbor was mowing the lawn for a long time or something like that. And we want community members to then be the educators. We want community members to educate each other, and we also want the community members to educate the city and the state. What are you learning? What have you observed? And so we're really excited. This is literally the first announcement we've had. We're also going to be mentioning it at the Environmental Initiative Policy Forum on Wednesday. But if any of you are interested in even just receiving more information about this, you don't have to commit now. write your email down and give it to Stacy, or I'll type my email in the chat, contact me, and we would love to keep you informed and invited into this project so that you can help develop it with us. So those are kind of the two green zone updates that I have. I was hoping that I was going to have a more exciting update on the city's resilience hub work. I don't really have anything at this time. For those of you who, that's sort of a new term for, basically a resilience hub is a community center on steroids. It's your, think of your neighborhood community center, what's within like a block or 2 blocks of you. They're offering programming, resources, social services, whatever it might be, education services, any given time, maybe 365 days a year, and to kind of take it to the step phase of a resilience hub would be helping to increase the resilience of the physical infrastructure, and then creating a partnership with traditional emergency responders where they could also be resource distribution, power distribution, and other things during a time of emergency, and take the lead on recovery. So it's an idea that the city is really excited about. We're trying to figure out how to get resources, and then we'll be doing hopefully some more work on that in the coming months, but don't have any concrete updates on that. And I think the last thing that I was going to talk about is just some updates on the city's clean energy partnership. And so this is where the city of Minneapolis works with Xcel Energy and Centerpoint Energy to try to achieve our greenhouse gas emission goals. I'm going to include a link to a very thorough update. So I'm not going to go through all of the details for the sake of time, and also because you're not going to retain any of the information because it's a lot. A couple quick things I did want to mention is that at the end of last week, the Minneapolis City Coordinator, Mark Ruff, announced that he's resigning. And so he has been one of the members from the city of Minneapolis on the Clean Energy Partnership. And so his seat will be replaced by an alternate. And so that alternate has been Council Member Fletcher. So Steve Fletcher will be filling in for the interim. And then one other update is, I think maybe at a past Green Teams meeting, someone from the city might have talked about some of our different energy disclosure policies. And the latest one that we've been working on is for renters. So if you're looking to rent an apartment, you always like what's the rent going to be, but you very rarely know what the energy costs are going to be. And they can vary widely and really impact your ability to afford your place of living. So the city adopted a policy where average utility costs would have to be disclosed to anyone looking to rent a potential unit. That was supposed to be going into effect on September 1st, and we were going to be starting to do outreach now. There's been a delay. Xcel Energy is still kind of getting all the pieces together for their data sharing tool. So that's not happening yet, but hopefully it won't be too delayed, and we'll keep everyone posted. Hopefully you'll start seeing announcements in the next couple months. I will stop there. I don't have any updates on the social cost of carbon. And then I think Kevin at CEE is going to do the pitch for everyone to get their home energy squad visit. So thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Hey, yeah. So I'm Kevin. I work at Center for Energy and Environment. We implement the Home Energy Squad program, which does, so we do the home energy audits for Centerpoint and Xcel, and then we also implement a basic series of installs that they can do, that we can do in people's homes for. So if people don't have energy efficient lighting, that stuff we can help take care of that kind of stuff. We're currently, the city of Minneapolis is helping fund free visits for folks who live in the green zones. So pretty much, so anyone who lives in a green zone neighborhood can get a free home energy squad visit with us. And then as well as folks who have, as well as any household that has an annual income under $100,000. And there are also 0% loans through the city. Well, it's being subsidized by the city of Minneapolis, and it's being implemented by Center for Energy and Environment. So there are 0% loans for energy efficient upgrades. So that could include insulation and air sealing, or if somebody wanted to upgrade to a more efficient heating system or was recommended to do that, or more, I believe cooling systems as well would be involved there if you're upgrading an air conditioning unit. And then the solar panels are also included. So in those cases, it would be their loans up to $20,000 for anything that would have been recommended at one of the energy audits. We're also another kind of related program with the Home Energy Squad is if folks qualify for energy assistance. So it's if people are if their annual household income is at 60% of the state median income, we offer free visits through the Home Energy Squad, and that's been subsidized by the utilities. And we're currently also offering $20 for the Market Bucks program. So people can use these Market Bucks vouchers after getting a Home Energy Squad visit to buy fresh food at farmers markets. So I think that's all I've got. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Kevin, are the solar, so you guys are subcontracted to Excel, and then you subcontract people to go door to door to do energy audits, is that correct?
Center for Energy Environment does the energy audits. We do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You do the energy audits?
Yeah. We have 3 subcontractors. Like if we're getting really busy, we have a couple of folks who've been energy audits for a long time.
So if you get folks that want to accept the loan for solar panels, who are the vendors that you've contracted with to install that solar?
Oh no, I was sitting here.
I'm not exactly sure. I don't think that we would. I think it would be that the individual would decide who they wanted to work with, and then they could get a loan. So the subcontracting of installing solar panels or anything like that, that wouldn't be through us.
That would be what?
That would not be through us. Like you would decide which contractor you wanted to go with for the solar panels.
How do we get those 2 programs to make preferential or to put forth information about solar contractors that are from North Minneapolis, for example, or from the South Side, so that we can bring wealth and increase to those solar vendors that are right here in our community? Is that something
sure.
y'all have considered? Rather than extractive solar vendors, that we can put forth a list of preferred vendors that are African American or from our community?
I haven't worked too much with the loan side of things. So I'm not exactly, I can't speak to it super well, but I can give you my information and we could discuss some of that kind of stuff. We work pretty closely with insulators in the city. And that's a big one where we're trying to vet insulators and trying to work with insulators to do a better job. With the solar kind of stuff, it's less in our area of expertise. It is something that's included in the loan that goes through the city of Minneapolis, but we're not as involved in solar kind of stuff. But the insulation stuff is a bigger deal with me. But I could definitely, I'll just enter my information in the chat, and then if you want to send me an email with kind of some ideas and everything, I can kind of try to get to the appropriate folks who are working on the loan kind of stuff and everything.
Okay.
About finding local vendors for solar and for weatherization.
If there's people talking in person, we can't hear.
Oh yeah, so basically I was just saying, let's try to sync up the transparent way that we can help update the Minneapolis Climate Action Plan and tied in with how Hennepin County is trying to ramp up implementation of their new Climate Action Plan and putting in things that maybe weren't in the original Climate Action Plan, more robust local hiring and contracting and all that.
I just wanted to say Layla and Michaela are here. They're researchers and they're doing green zones in North Minneapolis. They've got a contract for a full year to look at green zones and how we amp them up, how we increase the. They're important and that they're not enough area. So green zone is their focus, green space.
Right. Well, why don't we give those two a chance to just say a few words themselves. We'll kind of go around. We'll go to Kelly and then we can come to you guys. But, pass it to the Michaela and they'll just do a couple minutes on their green zone research. Over here.
That could be a potential thing that changes this action plan to include the research.
Okay, hi, I'm Michaela.
I'll put you both on there.
Okay. Me and Layla, we're both 17 and we're from North Minneapolis and we're youth researchers with Metro Blooms and I'm looking at green spaces and accessibility for everybody but people of color in the neighborhood of North Minneapolis, and then how accessible are they? Let's see, like why do we need more trees? Why are green spaces important? And I guess basically like what green spaces are and what benefit do they give to people in the neighborhood potentially? And then Layla.
My part of my research is really talking about redlining and racism, how our parks and our green spaces are different than wealthier neighborhoods in Minnesota. And just talking about how green spaces in other buildings in Minneapolis are different than they were before with gentrification and other stuff in Minnesota. And yeah.
So your report will be done at the end of the summer and maybe that can help. October? Yeah. Maybe that can help change the climate action.
And we'll definitely help share out their research and information. So thanks to Michaela and what was your name? Layla and Michaela, thank you so much and we'll keep up with your work for sure. And now we'll hand it off to Kellie Kish for a little update on a waste, kind of zero waste event that we're thinking about and we'll be in touch with everybody about.
So I'm going to be real quick. I want to share a couple other things that we've done recently in solid waste and recycling. I know at the last Green Teams meeting, we talked about the COVID waste behavior survey. I'm not going to do that. I will make sure Kyle has that to include because I don't think there were too terribly many people at our last meeting. But one thing we have done recently, and I'm trying to share my screen. We did do some garden tool swaps and we had 4 different locations across the city. you guys see my screen? Yes. Okay, there we go. 4 locations across the city, and in doing those, we had over 250 people participate in the swaps. Oh goodness, failing epically. And over 800 pots, plants, good like 60 some tools, all were exchanged. And what you see in that last picture, right, this is all that was brought there that had to be disposed of as trash. So it turned out to be a pretty good event, especially for our first year. So it is something we are going to do again next year. So if there are, I think we'll try and keep the same neighborhoods or parks that we did them at the last time, so we get some familiarity, but would appreciate more folks sharing about the events so we get even more people to show up. Our original plan was to donate all the unused or uncollected items to community gardens. However, they don't really want flower pots, so that didn't really work out so well. And then the little shears you can see in the image were quite badly damaged to the point where they were not usable anymore, which in theory, one of the volunteers shouldn't have accepted them, but they did. One other thing we've done recently, and okay, that stopped that share, is we every year, with the exception of 2020, like most things, we sorted truckloads of organics to get an idea of our contamination rate of what is in the organics. And this is not even a finalized document yet, so you guys are kind of getting the first look at it. But what we found, and this map here on the right shows where we sorted. So every year we've sorted one route from north and run one route from south. So we have ongoing data throughout or over the years. And then each year we pick a new route. So all of the other colored in areas are different routes we've sorted at different times. But what we found this year, you can see at the bottom of this chart, is our average contamination rate for organics is at 1.00%, wow. Which is up from 0.68% in 2018 and 2019. So we did see a little bit of an increase, but again, with that COVID waste behavior survey and just with the organics program in general, we did see significant increases in the number of households participating, but also the pounds per household set out per week increased a little bit as well. And, without neighborhood and community events, we lost a really good way to educate and communicate with folks on what does and doesn't go in there. One other real quick thing on this is we also sorted edible food, and edible food is also up from 2019. So it was about 5.6% of the entire truckload was food that could have been eaten. So again, just, goes to show that there's more work that needs to be done to make sure that people are eating the food that they buy and not wasting their money and all of the energy, water, and other resources that went into producing it and transporting it to their homes in the first place. But so again, this is not yet finalized, and here's a little bit, I'll leave it here for just, I'll leave it there for just a second so you can see some of the contamination pictures. But this will be posted on our website once it is finalized. Really, we're just waiting for that map and the number of households on the route to finish out the charts. And then, so Kyle wanted to talk about hosting a neighborhood waste reduction event. Back in 2019, we worked with, was it just Lindale or was it Brian and Lindale? Some of them. Either way,
Lindale and Tangle. I forget.
So do you want to mute yourself again? Sorry, trying to prevent the echo. So we held some community stop in, learn about waste, learn all about recycling, composting, and it's something that I think we want to continue to do. And I want to make you talk about your guys' series here too, but I'll leave that up to you if you want to do that. But yeah, just now that we have the ability to get out and about again, it could be kind of fun to do a train the trainer event for all of you neighborhood folks if you have interest in holding a similar type event. And actually right now with Solid Waste and Recycling's new Love Your Stuff campaign, we're developing a brand new educational table display that is all about being a conscious consumer, shopping smart, making sure you're aware of all the manufacturing and the human impacts that go into producing the things you get, making sure to care for them and love them as long as you can, and ultimately by doing those things, reducing waste. So we will have more to come on that, but I think it would be great do others feel like a train the trainer type event for neighborhood groups is a good thing? If so, use the little thumbs uppy thing or just do a thumbs up, or we can just plan it and you can decide to come or not come. All right, cool. We're getting some thumbs up. Now, do you want to quick talk about your series?
I can. So I'm Andrea Siegel from Tingletown. I think I said that already.
Thank you.
So, and I don't know why she said that, but I'm going to answer. And Kelly kind of wrapped up what we've been doing for the last year as part of our Green Partners grant. We focused on textile waste specifically because there's already such great education out there on organics and recycling. And we've hosted workshops talking about the social impact, the environmental impact, and we're wrapping up the work that we're doing in August with the textile reduce and reuse event. And we're going to do a clothing swap. And so anyone's welcome to participate in that. You just have to bring 10 items that you would share with a friend.
Of usable clothing.
Of usable clothing, correct. Usable
Important
clothing,
part there.
because it's a clothing swap. People will want to walk away. Yes, people want to walk away with something that they can use. And we'll have education. We'll have people tabling as well, talking about various, I'm on the spot, I can't even think of the language, various ways to repair your clothing, reuse, shopping secondhand, all the things that to do before buying something new, and how to shop responsibly when you do need something new. So that is in August. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but you can go to tangletown.org/textiles and all of the information.
It's the 15th.
Oh yeah, it's the 15th. Kelly will be there.
It's my birthday, and I will be at 2 different neighborhood events that day.
Oh, that's dedication.
You know,
I'll bake you a cake.
Yes.
Question. With the restaurants opening, is there anybody doing reclaiming edible food like they're doing in some cities where they'll take it to a warehouse and they'll redistribute it?
So that kind of, I hope you all heard that. So that kind of depends. So solid waste and recycling, we are funded by residential fees for service. So we don't have a lot of time, energy, and resources to put into the commercial side of things. Hennepin County does a lot with food rescue. I believe there is more of that still happening, and they are really working with bigger businesses to reduce as much wasted food as possible and help it feed people who need food.
Like 40% of what they buy is thrown out.
Yep. Well, and that actually brings up an interesting thing, and maybe someone here can help me with this, but when we were doing the organic sorts, we found in one route, and it was only in one route, so it's a very neighborhood-centric thing, we found 16 pounds of prepackaged sliced cheese, all in the organics. So we're trying to figure out where the heck those cheese packets came from so we can make sure that at least if people aren't going to eat it, they're educating to take it out of that plastic packaging before it goes in the organics.
Thank you.
It's not Minneapolis Public Schools, though. We do know that.
I found that collecting coffee grounds from coffee shops for our compost testing sites is really important. And another thing we're overlooking is the mash from beer. Like when I go to the beer place to get a few 5-gallon buckets of mash, there's enough mash there for compost piles all over. And that's the party food that helps compost.
Yeah, and those, so Hennepin County now requires any large generator of organics to have diversion programs. But we could go on this topic for a while, and for the time of the agenda, I'm gonna put our section here to an end. So I don't know who is next on the agenda. My agenda ran away.
I wanted to put up a subject idea for the next meeting with the teams related to Kelly and their cycling. The idea is that a lot of people gave comments to Hennepin County to shut down the garbage burner sooner in their climate action plan. So they put in strategies to try to ramp up waste diversion to be able to turn off the burners sooner while not having to have landfilling. That would tie into the city of Minneapolis's zero waste plans and whatever Frank Hornstein wants to do to finally get another version of a zero waste bill through. Ilhan is also working on a federal zero waste bill. So I'm curious, do you have any ideas, Kelly, of how would people that want to just try to get momentum going with Hennepin County staff, et cetera, to figure out all the stuff you'd have to do to gradually shift the waste stream in Hennepin County so that the HERC could gradually be turned off? Like, how would we start getting that happen?
I mean, I think that's another really long conversation too, but like, you know, step one is recycling is voluntary in Minneapolis, and about 97% of people have recycling carts. So changing that over to one being mandatory, and then really putting more incentives in place for people to participate in the organics program are going to be two huge steps in that. But we can talk about that, and or we can talk about it at the next meeting too.
Well, Aaron Weiss, I know, is on the call, and we talked about this before COVID, about doing another kind of waste series in the community. And again, if you are interested in doing it in your community, please let us know, Aaron, if you're still interested in partnering on that, because did a great job before. I put my email in the chat, but also we'll be sending out some minutes and, you know, with contact info for Kelly and me. The events are really fun. It's a great way to get to know neighbors, and which is really what we want to do in 2021, right? Kelly has one more thing to say.
Okay, sorry. So my one last thing is, this is something I've been asking for 4 years, and it finally happened. But solid waste and recycling, we have our own Facebook group. So now, instead of sending us an email or, you know, an individual email or calling us, you can post pictures and questions on that group, and then either we can answer or your fellow friends, neighbors, and community can answer. So if you haven't joined that, I do encourage you to join that. When I have a moment, I will paste the link in the chat here too.
What is the name of the group?
Minneapolis Garbage, Recycling, and Organics.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you to Kellie Kish and to everyone else. And now we're going to, we still have a lot to get through on our agenda. This is always the problem with our Green Teams meetings, is there's so much content and passion and energy and things to address at such a deep level. So it's really hard to squeeze it all in, but we will do our best. Up next, we have Lee from Community Power. He's just going to pop in my spot. And I did put a link to his website. I've been also fortunate to do a lot of outreach work with a beautiful, diverse coalition of people around the Integrated Resource Plan, which is Xcel's 15-year climate and energy plan. And Lee will talk more about that. But I really see it as a huge opening for changing the conversation and narrative and who's thinking and advocating on our energy policy. So it's a really exciting step in democratizing our energy process. So take it away, Lee.
Okay, yeah, this is the section on Xcel's Integrated Resource Plan, which is abbreviated as IRP, but instead of like those acronyms, I just call it Xcel's 15-year energy plan. And to start with, there is one thing about energy utility economics, which I really wish they would teach about in public schools, but it's that utilities get guaranteed profits off of building big infrastructure like power plants and high voltage transmission lines. And so it's not like any other competitive business that has an incentive to do things the most cost effective way. And so that this integrated resource plan process, it is in place to safeguard the public interest against utilities building way more infrastructure than we need and gouging customers. Like, yeah, I can see I've still got Xcel money grab stickers and for a minute, and so it looks at the integrated resource plan looks at how much energy will be needed and what is the most prudent way to generate it. So given what I just shared, that makes it easy to understand why Xcel would have been so insistent on building a new gas plant in Becker, Minnesota. And even if it were to shut down after just a few years after being built for environmental reasons, we would still be on the hook to pay for it because we were considered legally on the hook to pay off the debt for guaranteed profits. got a few little Benjamins here to sort of show the but the interesting part of the story is when the previous integrated resource plan was finished in the fall of 2016, it included the Public Utilities Commission ordering Xcel to prove that there was not a more cost-effective and workable alternative before giving them the authorization to build the gas plant. And then in response, Xcel was like, oh, you're not going to force us to do a study that we don't want to do, and then went to the state legislature to get that gas plant approved. So that's why when they're in their integrated resource plan and this time around, which was released last year, Xcel refused to evaluate any energy future scenarios that did not include this new gas plant. And there were like so many absurdities on that. I could write a whole I wrote a whole comedy show about it and submitted a song parody as my comment to the PUC. And but as you can see from a Star Tribune quote, Xcel got hammered with comments against this Becker gas plant, and it included 3 or 4 different organizations that use modeling software to come up with alternative plans that prove that this new gas plant was not necessary. And after all the commentary, no blank check for Xcel and that sort of thing, the company finally submitted an alternate plan on June 25th. Yeah, which is the headline at the top of my the Xcel IRP website. And so it's not a done deal. The Public Utilities Commission still has to finalize it, but what changed was that Xcel is proposing 2 new smaller gas plants that won't run as often, and it's like that only supplies power when it's needed instead of that original Sherco gas plant, which was to be used as base load, basically almost running continuously. And that would have been a lot more. So the new alternate plan is a lot less a lot better as far as reduced greenhouse gas emissions. And one other thing to quickly state is that Xcel is not like the Koch brothers who fundamentally oppose green technology, and it's just because of the incentives I touched upon earlier, is that they want to be able to own and control as much of the renewables as possible, and which is harder to do with which is harder for them to do if it was a more distributed energy scenario, but it would be like a lot more cost effective for Xcel customers, that we believe. And so yeah, we can get into the nuances of how it's done, but I did lay out on the website that the comment period, we initially had a new comment period for August 1st, but now it's August 13th, but now it's been extended to October 1st. So we have a lot more time as a coalition to get new messaging points out. And so yeah, I know the Xcel has dropped the title of the page is Xcel has dropped the plan for the gas plant, but it's not a done deal yet until the PUC rules on it. And we will be back very shortly with some suggested comments, but I have a brief rundown on the website and how to submit something already on there. Yeah, any further questions or?
I appreciate that the time period for comments is extended for the matter.
Yeah, like for the 5th time. Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
I also, like with Stacy here, I'm not sure whether their Xcel is upping the storage and demand response and other like how to get the grid smarter so you can have better microgrids and demand response and all that. So is it like, are they still really wimpy on like cutting demand and demand response in their IRP? Or,
So there is like the previous plan did not have anything as far as storage, and there was like a big question mark about demand response. But this new plan does have something on storage, and I forget the story on demand response, but I might have it on the website. Yeah. So you can't really demand a response from me on that, but demand, but people have for Excel. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Lee, for all that info on the integrated resource plan that has a dry name and a really profound impact.
But a lot at stake.
But a lot at stake, exactly. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. My name is Kyle Samajima, and I'm the Executive Director of Minneapolis Climate Action. And along with all the amazing city staff and other organizations, we organize these quarterly meetings with the Alliance for Sustainability to bring us together to share resources, initiatives, advocate for each other's plans. I'm going to share quickly on a initiative that Minneapolis Climate Action is working on right now around community solar gardens. We're opening 2 in 2021, hopefully as long as Excel doesn't hold us up too much. One's installed on North High School, just at the south end of this park, and one's installed on the Second Chance recycling facility. The Second Chance garden is pretty much full. I'm gonna just do a really super fly through this presentation on what community solar is. And an initiative that we're talking about in partnering with some different neighborhoods. So we're really looking to democratize renewable energy through our work with community solar gardens and make Minneapolis a leader in clean and equitable and energy transition. We just won an environmental initiative, environmental innovation award for the Second Chance for our partnerships in the garden, which are minority business enterprises for the developer and the installer. And we know why we need an equitable and renewable energy transition. I won't go through, usually I take a little more time to go through this, but I'm just kind of flying through it. But really, we want to get at the heart of the extractive economy, systemic racism, and the disparate impacts of climate change through the work that we do. And we do believe that community solar with no barriers is a vehicle to do that. So basically, like at North High School, there's an array of panels on the roof of North High School. That energy goes into the grid, it's measured, and neighbors get a share of that energy and get a credit on their electric bill. Our gardens are available for Excel customers and any Minneapolis, Hennepin County resident, regardless of income. We don't check credit score, and it's whether you rent or own, and it moves with you. So we really are trying to make this barrier free, and you can pay for your subscription as you go with no money down. We are prioritizing community members with lower incomes at North, and we're looking to get at about 80% for North, but we do have some spaces for everyone. And it's just truly, we think, a way to democratize the renewable energy revolution, because if it all ends up back just benefiting Excel, I think we have lost. We have such an amazing opportunity to change the whole paradigm around energy, food, all those things that we depend on for life. As I said, anyone can join. You just have to pay your own electric bill and live in Hennepin County. And we're really looking to partner with some neighborhood organizations to become, possibly use NRP money, because you can do an investment in a community solar garden and create a long-term funding stream for your neighborhood. I'm not going to go into all the details about that right now. If you want us to come and talk to your neighborhood, this is just truly a great way to benefit not only your community and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but it can benefit community organizations at a time when there's a lot of change happening in funding and things like that. There was something else I was going to say about that I can't remember at the moment. I already talked about North. And I think that's it for the presentation, but I will put, I'll send out in the minutes, and I did put our link to our website in the chat. We are also looking for organizations and neighborhoods, et cetera, to do, if you want to donate or do a fundraiser to buy pay upfront subscriptions for community members with lower incomes, then they just get to keep the whole bill credit each month that comes to them, rather than having to pay for a subscription. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know about this exciting initiative. We're partnering with all local organizations, with MN Renewable Now and Renewable Energy Partners, and our installer, Erica, is S3, owned, Black-owned solar installation business that does our installations. And the last quick thing is that Jamez Staples, who owns Renewable Energy Partners, our developer, is opening and has already actually started training people at his renewable, regional apprenticeship training center on Plymouth Avenue in North Minneapolis. We can't get those people. Yay, that's right.
Finally.
We had the very first class, the inaugural class, 7 people.
Nice.
For that training. And it was actually a partnership between the city of Minneapolis and Jamez. They paid for the training, and I was able to get my NABCIP certification after being solar for 10 years. So
thank you, City of Minneapolis.
That program is awesome.
Yay, right? The sustainability department's doing lots of cool things. And solid waste and recycling, of course. Yeah, so that's, and we can't get those people trained soon enough for energy efficiency work and renewable energy work in the Twin Cities. So it's really important that we support that training center and these efforts. I will stop there. Since I'm right here, Michelle Shaw wanted to be here for Minneapolis Edible Boulevards. I shared links to her work in the agenda, and I can put the link again in a few minutes in the chat. They're looking for Jordan, Weber, Camden, and East Phillips neighbors to get Edible Boulevard Gardens put in, and they've got an amazing series of classes coming up. So please check that out. I won't go through all those details, but I did put it in the agenda. And then we'll pass it along. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. And then we'll pass it along to Sean G, who has 2 minutes for like 19 things. So
anyway, so the big
here,
thing is,
wait, I'm gonna pass the,
okay.
yeah.
So we're gonna just hand these out. And for those of you online, the key thing is for everybody to get a hold of Commissioner Latricia Vita this week. She's an at-large park board commissioner for the whole city. And then for the South Minneapolis people like at Longfellow, Seward, to Powderhorn, East Phillips, to get a hold of AK Hassan. And then for the Southwest Minneapolis people to get a hold of Brad Bourne. Because we have 4 yes votes, but if we don't get one more vote this Wednesday at 5:30, the Hiawatha Lake Master Plan won't pass. And we've been working for 3 years with all these contentious meetings with the golfers and the environmentalists, and we came up with a great strategy to have a climate resilient 9-hole golf course that won't be flooded, as it won't be sinking into the swamp, as well as mitigating the huge pipe that comes all the way from the Lake Street, dumping trash right into the lake. We could also have more winter recreation, cross-country skiing. So the vote is this Wednesday at 5:30. You can sign up to speak, and we have all the talking points on the handout. I will email it over to, so that's the key thing is tomorrow, get a hold of Brad Bourne, Latricia Vita, and AK Hassan.
You can bike over to her house.
Oh, is that this?
Yep.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Well.
Oh yeah, well, the other key one I think is just so exciting.
Wait,
is,
Sean, come back.
The Hennepin County has hired Deanna Salas Chaman, who's the new director of the new Climate and Resilience Department for Hennepin County. So they're going to eventually have 5 staff, just like the Minneapolis Sustainability Division, but they have to wrangle all these other gigantic departments. And so they're going to be, a big priority for them is to reduce driving, which is going to be against the grain of their transportation department. So we need to kind of work on mobilizing support. So we encourage you all to call your county commissioners and say, yes, we're so excited about the new climate action plan. And we would like to have partnerships with the Minneapolis neighborhoods and the different suburbs. And so the key thing, I think, with Minneapolis, doing their climate action plan update, we can have actions that then all the big cities in Hennepin County can do at the same time, like sustainable building policies and energy benchmarking and ramping up residential solar, residential efficiency. So we can go to scale. That means that, the top 20 cities have 1 million people. It's about 20% of the state. So we don't have to worry about the legislature. There's all this federal dollars coming in. So if we line up the stars right between the cities, the neighborhoods, and the county departments, we can just get all these big things done without dealing with the legislature because of all the federal money that the county basically figures out where it's going to go. So there's no time to waste. We need to get support for this new director so that the commissioners will continue to get the other departments to work with her on all these things. So, yeah.
You mean the park commissioners?
I know the Hennepin County commissioners. You call up your Hennepin County commissioners. Yeah.
All right, well,
Yes.
thank you, everybody. Does anybody, Kelsey, Aaron, Sarah, do any of you have questions, thoughts, feedback? Anyone else here?
I have a question about Steve Fletcher.
Okay, let me just see if anybody online has any.
Is that the one, Brad?
No, this is great. Thanks so much for having us and making this happen.
What's that?
I just want to say thanks for making this happen and bringing us in. That's
Oh,
great.
absolutely, absolutely. And we look forward to being able to do it all in person. And again, thanks as we kind of went through this, beautiful chaos of coming together online and in person. It was beautiful to be in North Minneapolis at the park and see all these beautiful faces here. There's one more. Any last thoughts, Erica? You had.
I was wondering who this cat is that's the alternate Kelly that's taking over for Mark Rupp. Is that a council member, Fletcher?
Yep.
Yes.
Over for Mark Rupp?
Yeah, so 3rd Ward council member.
Wait, let's
partnership meetings.
Wait, she asked.
What is his current role, Fletcher? Steve Fletcher.
So he's the council member for Ward 3 downtown and just across the river from downtown. And he's been an alternate on the Clean Energy Partnership for the last few years. So he's been already involved in attending most of the meetings and kind of strategizing with staff at the city. So he's kind of a great selection for an alternate. He doesn't need to be caught up to speed.
So he's an environmentalist and he's all for the Roof Depot and he's all for green zones and all that stuff.
And we have a candidate.
He's definitely supportive of green zones. He actually has a tiny bit of the north side green zone in his ward. I don't actually remember what his stance is on the Roof Depot.
Okay, thank you.
We're very lucky to have Steve Brandt, a candidate for the Board of Taxation, here to join us.
Hi. I just want to introduce myself. I'm making the rounds at Northside Parks tonight and run into several friends already. And I'm running for Board of Estimate and Taxation, which is the most obscure position on the ballot.
Right on.
Because I like the obscure stuff, like city finances. And I've actually been a student of city finances over the years. I was a reporter at the Star Tribune. Hi there, how you doing? I believe I have the background to step in. We're losing two most experienced people on the board who have 6 terms of experience between them. And I have laid out the factors there that I would use to make property taxation decisions, and I've laid out some of my background. But if you go to the yellow part here at the bottom and Google it, it'll take you to my website and my Facebook site. And I could go on, but you look like you're doing important work. And I know some of you folks, so I I know that you're a good thinker.
Thank you,
Appreciate,
Steve.
Yeah, thank
showing
you.
up.
This is awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, we hope you can make it next time in person too, both of you. And thanks again, everybody. We'll send out some notes with links to all this important stuff, and so much exciting going on in the city right now. So it's like there's so much dark stuff and really beautiful to see what's happening at the local level. So woohoo! All right,
Thank
thanks
you.
again, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Quick, will you type out? Will you type out?